Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I am glad you have come back to my channel. To all my new subbies, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you like, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to also share to your family, friends, and to all my returning subscribers, thank you once more for tuning in. I am sure you have made this your safe haven now. Okay, so without wasting time, let's delve into the topic of today, which is about the three most startups that stand out for me. So there are three startups that stand out for me, and I was like, you know what, I need to share to you guys, you know, that you may get motivation that even though you feel like work is not working out, maybe you can work out something for yourself. So without wasting time, in no particular order, these are my three startups that stand out for me. Number one is Inqaba Biotech. Inqaba Biotech was funded by Dr. Oliver and Dr. Joachim. These were friends. Dr. Joachim was a lawyer, and Dr. Oliver was a molecular scientist, you know. So they used to take the same bus in Sunnyside, and one day they spoke to one another. What would you, how would it feel, you know, if me and you partnered to open a startup? You know, and the conversation went well, but these guys were not clued up about entrepreneurship or anything of that sort. But they carried on together and they met some people. Obviously they met people who could help them, you know. They talk about how they had just this big stack of what they wanted to do, you know, because they were not well versed of how to write a business plan. But then they sought help and someone who could, you know, show them how to write a simple business plan that could be well understood by investors, you know. So they carried on that, and then there was also Standard Bank that was willing to fund them 4 million rands, and 4 million rands in 2002, trust me, it was a lot of money. However, they needed to put some of their assets in a collateral, you know, so that, hey, if your things go wrong, hey, we'll seize those assets. But you know, I mean, business is business. And then so they were quite lucky. And then there was an organization, SECO, that also was, I will also write down there what it stands for. So yeah, those were one of the powerhouses that wanted to fund them. And in 2002, 1st of August, they started this thing, and they started by synthesizing oligonucleotides, and then they also optimized Sanger sequencing. As you know, that Sanger sequencing is it sequences a little you know, at a time, you know. So if you're having base pairs, it's a little at a time, you know, unlike NGS, which is next generation sequencing. So they started with that, and this was the first in sub-Saharan Africa. So this technology was in other countries except sub-Saharan Africa and in South Africa. So they started well, and you know, obviously they were probing the science to be as developed as in other developed countries. And you know, they, within a short space of time, they opened another branch in Kenya, Nairobi, and in West Africa, Ibadan in Nigeria, and in Ghana, Accra, and then they went to Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, where they opened another branch recently, you know, I think in 2018 or so. One of the things that also stand up about Inqaba Biotech is that fast track them, you know, starting up with the synthesis of oligonucleotides and the optimization of Sanger sequencing. They later went on to next generation sequencing, and this is not something that they only planted in South Africa, but they also put it in the different countries that I've mentioned: your Kenya, Nairobi, Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, West Africa, Nigeria, Ibadan, your Ghana, Accra, you know. So they made those developments in these countries. And if you're wondering, or you are someone who's still an undergraduate and has not learned about Sanger sequencing or next generation sequencing, so Sanger sequencing is sequencing of a small portion of your nucleotide base pairs. So obviously our body is made out of DNA, and those DNA have nucleotide base pairs, you know, which is your adenine, your guanine, your cytosine, your thymine, and things like that. So in order for us to know, you know, what gene this is, we need to know the coding. So the coding is those alphabets, you know. So those codings are required. So that's what we sequence. So what if you are having a sample? Maybe they take my saliva. They will take my saliva, and then they will extract the DNA. Obviously, using a more advanced methods to retain the DNA, and then from that DNA extraction, they will now maybe, you know, depending on their process, whether they will do quantitative or qualitative PCR, or real-time PCR, whatever the method is, and then they are going to now move on to sequencing. So meaning that they're going to take out your base pairs now, and so those base pairs, you can take them to like NCBI. So NCBI is a biotechnology powerhouse. Like so you do a blast search. So if you're having your base pairs, maybe your ATGC, what, this long base pair, you will take it to your NCBI, and then your NCBI will tell you what gene this is and what it is from, species, genre. It's this nice long thing. I might post it on a picture or something like that. And then your next generation sequencing, the nice thing is that it's more efficient, you know, so you can take a larger DNA at a time, unlike your Sanger sequencing that takes a small portion at a time. So it takes time, even though they used it during the Human Genome Project. So I think that's what stands out for me for Inqaba Biotech, for fast-tracking the technology and even planting it in other African countries. And the developments can be big, you know, because now we want to start with gene editing. We don't want to die. We want to be immortal. I am sorry that came out wrong, but honestly, I think there is a future in gene editing that might be very beneficial to people. We are tired of taking, you know, it's very ridiculous these days. You know, you go and you say your leg is painful, and they give you calcium, or they give you, you know, vitamins and things like that, you know, because they do not know, you know, and we know the facts are there. You know, people get sick because of mutations even in your nucleotide sequences. So you know, the future of biotechnology is obviously headed there, where we are going to do gene editing. And this is you know, if you want to venture into this field, and then think about it, you know, you might get good returns at the end, but obviously the machinery or lab equipment to start up this thing is ridiculous. It is very ridiculous. I mean, we could have had it in our institution to have that machine, but also remember the maintenance of the machine, the calibration, and these machines, because sometimes they use nanoparticles and nanofibers, they become extremely expensive and extremely high maintenance, you know. So my second startup goes to Denevo Dairy Food Labs. So this is a laboratory that specializes in refining food products. They do fermentation, and sometimes they do you know, products that actually have the same nutritional benefits and even more than actually the real ones, but it's not the real one, you know. So this company was started by Jean Lawrence and Leah Bessie and Richard, and they also do have some findings from Stellenbosch, which is a nice thing. So this company has done a lot. You know, they are not that famous, but you know what, really I think they stand out for me. So their whole thing is that they actually save 90% of water, save 90% of electricity by just synthesizing these products themselves, rather than waiting for killing and So yeah, so I think they are very nice and they really stand out for me. So I don't want to make this video very long for you. The third one is MyChem Dynamics. MyChem Dynamics is an organization that specializes in consulting, auditing, and offering laboratory services. So under the umbrella of MyChem Dynamics, there is a lab, VGL Lab. This company was founded by Santi and Vinay Moodley. So these were colleagues that decided, you know what, they want to spread their wings, and they started this company. This company offers consulting services mainly in quality. Remember, quality is subjective and depends on what customer requirements you want, you know. So they whatever your quality is within your organization, whatever quality you are serving, you know, so they can come and help you, you know. Your laboratories, they offer services, your microbiological identification and things like that, in water, in food stuff and stuff like that. So that company for me really stands out because these people were less than 40 years when they started this company, you know. And I am very familiar with the company, so you know, for me it really stands out, and it just shows again the power of taking a leap of faith. The thing that stands out for me about this MyChem Dynamics is that Vinay, he studied BSc, majored in microbiology and biochemistry. Simple, you know. And Santi studied food technology, and she later did her further studies in quality management, you know, so that she understands it and she's well versed in that particular field. So you don't need a PhD sometimes to do your own startup, you know. Whatever skills you have and you are confident about them and you feel like you can execute them better. And remember, you are always going to refine that skill by reading or doing whatever. What I advise is that, you know, before you're employed, when you're employed, you can overwhelm yourself with a lot of things, and then you are not able to do maybe your purpose or your startup. But when you're unemployed, throw yourself into the deep end, you know, and start up that company. There are a few funding houses in South Africa that will finance you, and the time is in, you have time, you know, you have the time by your side. So, you know, these are the 3 startups that stood out for me, that I felt like I wanted to share with you, and perhaps they would inspire you as well to start your own. So thank you for tuning into my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you really enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.